You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill News. In a breaking story from the Gateway Pundit, top defense official testifies that Trump does not need Congress or a national emergency to build a border wall. But Anons already knew it. During a House Armed Services Committee hearing on Tuesday, Undersecretary of Defense for Policy John Rood confirmed that President Trump holds the power to build a border wall with Mexico without congressional approval or by declaring a national emergency. Mo Brooks asks, does 10 U.S.C. 284, as you understand it, require the declaration of a national emergency before it is implemented? John Rood says, no. Mo Brooks says, it does not? Rood, no. Brooks, has President Trump, to your knowledge, ever used 10 U.S.C. 284 to direct the military to build the wall that is necessary for border security? Rood answers, not to my knowledge, Congressman. Brooks says, if President Trump were to direct the Pentagon and the U.S. military to pursuant to 10 U.S.C. 284 to build such barriers as are necessary to secure our southern border from drug trafficking and international crime cartels, would the United States military obey that order? And Rood answered, if we judge it to be a lawful order, yes, sir. And I assume it would be. Nice. All right, let's take a listen.
9/11, as we all know, resulted in the deaths of roughly 3,000 Americans in New York, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, in the Washington, D.C. area. And the net effect of the loss of those 3,000 lives was to invade Iraq and Afghanistan at a cost of trillions of dollars, and many thousands of lost lives by military personnel and civilian support personnel. In contrast, illegal aliens cause roughly 2,000 homicides on American soil per year. At least over 2,000 illegal aliens were apprehended by federal law enforcement officers in fiscal year 2018 for homicides. And as was mentioned earlier by Congresswoman Hartzler and Congressman Scott, drug overdoses cost roughly 70,000 American lives per year. And the evidence is overwhelming that a substantial portion of the drugs, those poisons that cause the loss of American lives, come across our southern border illegally. In terms of lost American lives, then, our porous southern border, combined with the homicides of illegal aliens, far exceeds the loss of life caused by 9/11. With that as a backdrop, I want to direct your attention to 10 United States Code 284, which authorizes President Trump to deploy the military to the southern border, to build fences, and to do a lot of other things. And for clarity, if you look it up in the dictionary, the word fence includes the word barrier, and the word barrier includes walls made of a variety of different materials. So that having been said, it seems to me that 10 U.S. Code 284 can be used by the President of the United States to direct the United States military to build a wall. Now, as of today, you've mentioned military forces along the southern border. Have any of them been deployed pursuant to 10 U.S.C. 284?
Congressman, I don't believe any of our forces have been deployed pursuant to 10 U.S.C. 284. You are correct, however, that use of authority would authorize the Secretary of Defense to erect barriers, roads, fencing, those type of materials to disrupt drug smuggling.
Does 10 U.S.C. 284, as you understand it, require the declaration of a national emergency before it is implemented?
No.
It does not?
No.
Has President Trump, to your knowledge, ever used 10 U.S.C. 284 to direct the military to build the wall that is necessary for border security?
No, not to my knowledge, Congressman.
If President Trump were to direct the Pentagon, the United States military, pursuant to 10 U.S.C. 284, to build such barriers as are necessary to secure our southern border from drug trafficking and international crime cartels, would the United States military obey that order?
If we judge it to be a lawful order, yes, sir. And I assume it would be.
Thank you. I appreciate your responses. And, Mr. Chairman, I yield back the remainder of my time.
So I love this because it just goes to show you that President Trump does not need to call him a national emergency to build this border wall. He already has the support of the U.S. military. We already have the funding in the military budget. So this, again, is all about optics. This is about showing the American people that the Democrats do not care about our safety and security. The safety and security of the American people is paramount to the success and the continuation of our nation. Human trafficking, international criminal cartels, these are what we are fighting against. And this is what the Democrats do not want to stop because they directly profit from this suffering that is imported into our nation through our southern border, through the porous southern border. The wall will be built, and it will be done by the Army Corps of Engineers and the military. And next, this is actually a screenshot from a video by Stroppy Me on YouTube. He had caught another post from FBI Anon on 4chan. Now, this post says, FBI Anon here, this is from just earlier today, the Mueller investigation is wrapping up and there is no evidence of collusion. Trump, Rosenstein, and Mueller have been in on the investigation since day one, as I've been saying on this channel for quite some time, and as our favorite Anon has hinted at on the board. A key element of the Mueller investigation was a complete vetting of the Pkwy dossier. So this final report will make clear that Trump was a subject of the investigation, and a bonus will be the debunking of the dossier. So it will show that clearly Trump was targeted for nothing, and that the dossier was complete and total bunk. It will probably heavily implicate Hillary and the DNC, but most importantly, it will completely vindicate Trump. Also, Comey and Brennan will be indicted soon. A grand jury has returned indictments, and they will be made public next week. Also, McCabe will be indicted in the next 10 days. That's a new prediction. Now, you've got a couple of people here below that are not happy with FBI Anon saying that it's a LARP. We don't know. We don't know if it's a LARP. But what is being said here really does jive with the things that I've been saying on this channel for quite some time. You've got Mueller going in for the interview with Trump for the FBI position, supposedly, when he's clearly not able to be the FBI director again. And then just 2 days later, Rosenstein signs him up as the special counsel. I think that he went in there for the interview, or he went in there to speak with Trump, and Trump told him, hey, this is what we have on you. This is what I need you to do because the Democrats trust you. And if you, act out this whole school play as this special counsel, you pretend that you are investigating me when really you are investigating all of the things that have been happening that I've been talking about that other people are not willing to investigate. And you come out and you show, because it's true, that the dossier is fake. You show that I've been targeted. You show that there is absolutely nothing here. And Mueller gets himself a get-out-of-jail-free card. And Rosenstein, much the same thing. So I don't know. I don't know if this is real, but I'm really hoping that it is. And I definitely want to see McCabe get indicted. McCabe, Comey, and Brennan, all three of them, just scum. All right, and next we have a really shocking story from the Daily Caller. Not so shocking in the fact that it happened, but just the fact that this is what the left has been reduced to. Nellie Ohr researched Trump's kids for fusion GPS. God, they will stop at nothing. Nellie Ohr, the wife of Justice Department official Bruce Ohr, told Congress in October that she investigated President Donald Trump's children on behalf of Fusion GPS, the opposition research firm behind the Steele dossier. Ohr also testified that during a meeting in July 2016, Christopher Steele passed her husband materials from his infamous dossier. Nellie Ohr, who worked as a contractor for Fusion GPS, looking into Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump's business dealings and their travel. The wife of a Justice Department official who worked for Fusion GPS during the 2016 campaign told Congress in 2018 that one of her tasks at the opposition research firm was to research President Donald Trump's children, including their business activities and travel. Nellie Ohr, a former contractor with Fusion GPS, also told lawmakers during an October 19th deposition that she recalls that Christopher Steele gave her husband, Justice Department official Bruce Ohr, materials from the infamous anti-Trump dossier funded by the Democrats. Ohr said during his testimony that Steele, who like her, was a contractor for Fusion GPS, hoped that her husband would pass the materials to the FBI. My understanding was that Chris Steele was hoping that Bruce would put in a word with the FBI to follow up in some way, or testified to members of the House Oversight and House Judiciary committees, according to transcripts confirmed by the Daily Caller News Foundation. The Ohrs met with Steele and an unidentified British associate on July 30, 2016, at the Mayflower Hotel in Washington, D.C. Bruce Ohr testified to Congress on October 28 that the meeting covered three main topics. He said Steele claimed that a former official with Russia's SVR claimed that the Kremlin had Trump over a barrel. I wonder if that was the Sorcha-Fall lead. Steele also relayed information about Carter Page, the former Trump campaign advisor, who Steele claims in his dossier met with two Kremlin insiders during a trip to Moscow in early July 2016. Page has denied Steele's allegations, saying he did not meet with two Kremlin officials. Steele, a former MI6 officer who operates out of London, also told Ohr that a lawyer for Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska was investigating Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort over a business deal gone south. Steele reportedly worked at one point for one of Deripaska's companies. The link is ironic, given that Deripaska is considered a close ally of Vladimir Putin's. Nellie Ohr testified that the materials that were handed over were from the dossier, but that she did not learn the information was contained in the dossier until much later. She testified that she did not see the complete dossier until it was published by BuzzFeed on January 10, 2017. And you hadn't seen it or its portions during the time that you were employed, correct? One lawmaker asked. If I recall correctly, I may have seen maybe a page or something of it at the breakfast, Ohr replied. Ohr, a trained Russian linguist, also detailed some of the topics she worked on for Fusion GPS, which hired by the firm that represented the Clinton campaign and DNC to investigate Trump. One area of focus was Donald Trump Jr. and Ivanka Trump, President Trump's oldest two children. But in terms of actually performing research, did you begin to break out President Trump's family in terms of Melania Trump, all of his children? Were you doing independent research based off of each family member? One lawmaker asked Ohr. I did some, Ohr said. As I recall, I did some research on all of them, but not into much depth. How about Donald Trump Jr.? Did you do more in-depth research on Donald Trump Jr. than some of the others, she was asked? I am afraid it was relatively superficial. It was, adding that, I looked into some of his travels and, not sure how much detail I remember at this point. Ivanka Trump? I looked into some of her travels, said Ohr. The goal was to see whether they were involved in dealings with transactions with people who had suspicious pasts. Nellie Ohr also testified that she investigated any links between Russian oligarchs and the Trump real estate empire. It is unclear whether Ohr shared any information that she gathered working for Fusion GPS with her husband, who served as Associate Deputy Attorney General until he was reassigned in December 2017. There is also no indication that Ohr's research of the Trump children wound up in the dossier, which the FBI used to obtain surveillance warrants against Carter Page. Bruce Ohr met with Steele and Fusion GPS founder Glenn Simpson prior to the 2016 election. That conflicts with testimony given by Simpson, as well as a memo released by Democrats on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Simpson testified to the Intelligence Committee on November 14, 2017, that he did not meet with anyone from the Justice Department or the FBI until after the election. Bruce Ohr testified that he met Simpson on August 22, 2016. I wonder if Glenn Simpson is going to be hauled out of his home at 6 a.m. while his wife watches barefoot on the front lawn. Democrats on House Intelligence also claimed in a memo released last year that Ohr did not pass information he gleaned from Fusion GPS or Steele until after the election. Bruce Ohr testified that he contacted top FBI officials almost immediately after his July 30, 2016 meeting with Steele. Ohr met with then Deputy Director Andrew McCabe and his General Counsel Lisa Page. Ohr said that he debriefed the pair on his meeting with Steele. Ohr met with FBI and Justice Department officials the following month. Involved in one of those meetings was Peter Strzok, the FBI's lead investigator on the Trump-Russia probe. Strzok was fired in August 2018 after an anti-Trump text messages that he exchanged with Page during the same period that he was working on in the investigation. Ohr also met with Justice Department lawyers Andrew Weissman and Zainab Ahmad, both of whom currently work on the special counsel's team. Ohr served as the FBI's back channel to Steele even after the Bureau severed ties with the former spy in early November 2016. The FBI ended its relationship with Steele because he had talked to the press about his investigation of Trump. After Trump's election win, Strzok and other FBI officials asked Ohr to maintain contact with Steele and report back to investigators. Well, this is really good news that testimony from Nellie Ohr is now getting out into the public consciousness. I'm certainly going to be interested to see what else pops up and how many other things she says that conflict directly with some of these people that are deeply involved with this sham investigation. All right, and on to one more story. Judicial Watch sues DOJ for records of former FBI counsel James Baker's communications with Christopher Steele. Conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch announced Wednesday it filed a lawsuit against the Department of Justice for all records of communications between former FBI General Counsel James Baker and Russia dossier author Christopher Steele. Judicial Watch filed the lawsuit after it initially tried to obtain the records by filing a FOIA request in January of 2018. The FBI claimed it had no such records. However, in a testimony to the House Judiciary Committee and House Oversight Committee in October of 2018, James Baker admitted to congressional lawmakers that he indeed received a copy of the Russian dossier. James Baker told Republican lawmakers that David Korn, a reporter at the ultra-radical left-wing Mother Jones magazine, had given him a copy of the phony Russia dossier just one day after Donald Trump won the presidential election. Mr. Baker also testified that he believed David Korn received the dossier from Fusion GPS co-founder Glenn Simpson. James Baker was also involved in the FBI's sham investigation into Hillary's email and private server. The real collusion scandal of the 2016 election is the effort by the Clinton campaign and the Obama DOJ FBI to spy on and destroy President Donald Trump, Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton said. And it looks like the FBI is covering up documents on the Russiagate scandal, which is why Judicial Watch is again in federal court. Mr. Baker left his position as general counsel in January 2018, then resigned from the FBI in May of 2018, the same day FBI lawyer Lisa Page turned in her resignation. Baker gave 2 testimonies to congressional lawmakers in October of 2018 in an unclassified setting, and the transcripts of his testimonies still have not been released to the public, despite efforts by Republicans going through the proper channels to make those transcripts public. And that is the end of the report. Well, as we all know, James Baker is under criminal investigation for leaking to the media, so he had a very, very close association with certain elements of the left-wing press, the fake news media. So James Baker is probably going to be looking at some serious punishment. I think that our Justice Department and the people doing the investigations have taken a turn for the good. We recently had, just yesterday, as I mentioned yesterday, the OIG announcing that there should be action taken against those 2 current FBI senior officials and then 1 former retired FBI senior official. I certainly hope that one of them is James Comey, but as I said yesterday, I think that this is more than likely related to the Clinton Foundation whistleblower, Dennis Nathan Cain. And the information that he provided to the OIG. Now, to date, we have gotten very little information out about that case other than the fact that his home was raided after he had the whistleblower protection status. And we know that our favorite Anon had said directly that it's possible that raid was due to efforts to protect Dennis Nathan Cain. Now, I don't know that that's true. It would certainly be awesome if it was, because it lets us know that the FBI and the DOJ have a lot more good people left in them than we would have been led to believe after these, many, many, many months of just straight and outright corruption. Well, this is all I've got for you in this report. I want to thank everyone for joining me. Once again, I am Red Pill 78, the corruption detector. If anyone is interested in helping out, there is information in the comment section below. Also, all of the article links will be in the comment section below. If anyone would like to follow me on Twitter, I am at RedPill78, REDPILL, the number 7, the number 8. You can also email me at redpill78@protonmail.com. I have lots of people sending me good stuff, little tidbits, leads to go on. I'd sure appreciate it because I do have a full-time job outside of my job as a citizen journalist. So once again, everyone, thanks again for joining me. I am Red Pill 78, the corruption detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck and God bless.